And a lot of times it was hit the girl. And my dad just said, Natalie, they can't hit you if they can't catch you. Just to look in your son's eye and coach them. It's a pretty cool feeling to be a part of that. If you're not salivating to come to the rink, don't come.
All right, Natalie, thanks for being here today. We got different mics here, so I hope everybody can hear us. So Natalie, at the beginning, I had mentioned to think about your first sports memory. Did a certain memory come to mind for you?
Yes. So I was the youngest of two other siblings. I had an older sister, older brother. At that time, there were no girls really playing hockey. And my grandma bought me a pair of My Little Pony roller skates. Not roller blades. Those didn't exist yet. Roller skates. And I was out there in the driveway with my Little Pony roller skates and my Christian hockey stick, asking my brother to go one-on-one. So I think at that point, my mom and dad knew they were in trouble, that I wasn't your average girl. So that was kind of my first memory of unorganized, competitive play that led into, obviously, my future in hockey.
So Natalie, talk a little bit about, having, older brothers or brother.
One sister, one brother.
One sister, one brother. Talk a little bit about what that was like growing up, and maybe who inspired you to get into youth hockey and just what that kind of, felt like as a female in a sport that there wasn't a lot of girls playing.
Yeah, so just being the youngest of two is the quintessential stereotypical growing up, where mom was taking my sister to tap dancing classes and dad was taking my brother to hockey. So naturally, being the youngest one, they're like, where do you want to go? And I was in my dad's vehicle before they were going to the hockey rink. So that kind of shaped, being in rinks. And I just stayed persistent. When I looked out at the rinks, it was male coaches, it was boys playing. And I just stayed persistent to my mom and dad saying, when do I get to play hockey like Ryan? And so on my 5th birthday, they said, when you turn 5 years old, you can play. My mom thinking I would forget. So I woke up in October on my 5th birthday, which is leading up to hockey season, and woke up and said, I get to play hockey now. And they succumbed to that, and the rest is history. So grew up playing with the boys. To be honest with you, I was doing a sport I loved. I didn't recognize that was a male coach, that these were boys. I was going out there doing something I loved, that got me out of bed, that got me excited. So for me, I didn't really realize that I was playing with boys or I was being coached by males. It was just a sport I loved. And the cool thing was too, as time went, those boys didn't look at me as a girl. They looked at me as their teammate. A lot of times, a lot of the chatter was the people in the stands and the opposing coaches and opposing teams that I kind of felt the most adversity from.
And sports specialization is a big topic in youth sports today. Was hockey your only sport that you were playing, or were you playing multiple sports growing up?
No, growing up, I played everything. I was seasonal. So, in the fall, it was soccer. Winter was hockey. Spring was spring was softball. And then the summers, we were kids. There wasn't the AAAs there is now. We were going to our high school parking lot because it was freshly paved in Egan, and we were playing roller hockey. I got a bunch of us together. I would have the cones on the end of my stick, rollerblading up to Egan High School, and we would play roller hockey in the parking lot for hours, unorganized play. Absolutely, as I got older, softball was involved and hockey happened more of training. But even I tell this story to the athletes that I'm around now and train. When we were training for the Olympics, we didn't touch the ice. The season kind of ended around April for the World Championships for the U.S. team. We didn't touch our hockey bag until after 4th of July. So we had 3-4 solid months that we didn't touch our bag. And the guy that trained us is a legendary Minnesota hockey icon, Jack Blatherwick. He said, if you're not salivating to come to the rink, don't come, because you're going to get way more out of it when you are just itching to get out there. So he kept us off the ice, and then our training from July on just was way more intense and even that more quality when we got on the ice. So
resilience is a big thing that we talk about at the In Sports Foundation, because sports is one of those things that a lot of resilience building comes out of that. Is there a key moment in your career, maybe it was high school, college, or playing for the USA team, where your team or you individually overcame something big that built that resilience?
Yeah, I'll answer that personally and maybe like team-wise. I think personally, resilience kind of, when I started to get in the middle school age and I was playing boys, I'm 5'3" now. I was 5'3" then, and boys start growing. And so my dad was kind of like, hey, and at that time there's checking and the age group I was in Pee-wees. And he just said, hey, it might be time when the boys are getting their growth spurt to move over to girls hockey. And at that time I was kind of I was a captain of our Pee-wee hockey team in Egan, and obviously had a ponytail, so I stuck out. And a lot of times it was hit the girl. And my dad just said, Natalie, one thing that you can do, you don't have to talk back. You don't have to do this. And he said, they can't hit you if they can't catch you. And so for me, he wasn't telling me to, work harder. He wasn't telling me to keep my mouth shut. He was just saying, here's a solution that will make everyone be quiet. As they can try to hit you all day, but if they can't physically catch you because you're fast and quick, who cares? And so that was kind of my inspiration. From a team team situation, an Olympic tryout is probably the most cutthroat process ever. You're training with friends, you have teammates. It comes down to a tryout that happens in August where they pick 25 players to make the Olympic team. You're leaving people out, you're leaving roommates out, past teammates out, and it's just cutthroat. You sit in a room like this, and one by one, the coach stands up and says your name. And then you have people besides you that didn't get their name called. It is absolutely, as a human beings, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. But, a lot of people didn't make those teams based on a couple weeks of tryouts. And it's tough because their dreams that they had all along and all their hard work, it didn't come to fruition, but it doesn't mean their journey wasn't meaningful. So that was a tough part to see. I think a lot of times you see athletes and we have tough exterior. There's a lot of internal personal stories that go on that are inside the locker room, and you witness that are tough and make you more resilient and have you have thicker skin for sure.
Hey everyone, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about the In Sports Foundation. At In Sports, we're all about helping kids get more involved in sports. We do this through providing free camps, scholarships, and team sponsorships, all to help reduce the cost of sports and getting more kids into the game. Through sports, kids can learn valuable life lessons, stay active, and maintain their mental well-being. To support our mission and help us get more kids into the game, visit our website at insportsfoundation.org to make a donation. Together, we can make a difference. The other thing we hit on a lot is that sports, there's so many life lessons that you learn from sports. And, no matter how good you are in any sport, there's a time when sports come to an end at that competitive level. And you have to transition either into, focusing on being a good parent, giving back to the sport, or just in your business career. Has there been anything that has stood out to you that has made you a better person in whatever you're up to after sports that you only could have learned from playing hockey or any sport growing up?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, probably 99% of it goes back to being involved in hockey and sports. Being in a team setting, having 25 other individuals that you got to communicate with and get along with in close quarters. So for me, hockey and sports have paved the path for who I've become. It's not my identity. It's not who I'm wrapped up into. Like, that's cool, but I'm not wrapped up. I don't introduce myself as an Olympian or anything like that. But my past and the experiences I've been through sports of communication, hard work, perseverance, seeing teammates get cut from an Olympic team, those things have shaped who I've become and who I am. So maybe now, maybe I have a little bit more grace, or I can walk in people's shoes a little bit better when I meet with people. I'm very introverted in nature, but through now getting older, and I would say you mentioned parenting. I think I'm a much better parent because of the experiences that sport has taught me.
So we didn't know each other yet, but last hockey season, I was coaching my son Braxton. Where's Brax? He's somewhere over here. There he is. And you were coaching your kid from Prior Lake. And I saw this crazy question the other day of, would you rather coach your kid or would you rather sit on the sideline and watch to avoid the parent drama? And I know at this younger age, there's not as much parent drama, but what advice would you give to parents out there, just about youth sports? Because it does seem like there's just this heightened drama that comes to, what team your kids are making, how much playing time they're getting. And I think there's something that needs to change with youth sports in that standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, your stats earlier are staggering, about 45 minutes a week of PE and stuff like that. So to answer your question, I would always rather be involved my kids' sports. I grew up, my dad was my coach, and there was a healthy boundary between coach and dad. But just to have that more touch point with your kid's going to remember, they're not going to remember the toy they opened on their 5th birthday. They're going to remember that time you spent with them. So I'm clear to be like, they don't get any extra perks or anything, but just to look in your son's eye and coach them, it's a pretty cool feeling to be a part of that. But as far as youth sports, I will say that a lot of my development growing up was from unorganized play, free play. We don't get free play anymore. Even my sons, they're going from, always organize everything. There comes a time when I'm like, we're not signing up for anything because I want you to figure out today what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And usually those days are the most fun days and those memory days we remember, where we're going to the lake, we're going tubing, now we're fishing, now we're riding our bikes, now we're racing, now we're playing night games, having a bonfire. Those are the days. And they learn their own social skills. So as much as I'm on the ice with my kids or coaching, there comes a time where you guys got to figure it out and play. We can set up an exercise for you. We can set the parameters, but you guys have to figure out how you play and how you do it. And I think that's what we're missing. We're telling kids so often, turn left around this cone, take 2 steps, turn right, now do a push-up, now get up, now score. They didn't learn anything from that, and they become robots. Our sport we play is about IQ and instincts. You don't learn that from a coach telling you when to turn and when to do stuff. You learn that instinctually. That's where my development, a lot of it, as you mentioned, you grew up playing on the pond, was us going in the Egan High School parking lot and playing roller hockey, going to the outdoor rinks, and just being under their lights until your dad and mom had to come pick you up. That's where I learned instincts and skills and stuff like that you might not have learned from organized play. So that's what I would recommend. If you are in part of youth sports, allow them to have some free play and figure it out, and those instincts will come.
I couldn't agree more. We have a lot of business professionals in the room here that are itching to get out on the golf course. Yes. From a foundation like the In Sports Foundation, we're all about giving back to kids to play sports. And there's a lot of kids out there that might not have that parent influence to help them. They need somebody to come in and be that influence. And what would you say to a room like this today, just about the importance of what youth sports brings?
Again, I commend you guys in this room. What your organization has done, it's incredible. A lot of people don't have their opportunity and means to sign up for hockey. I just signed my kids up for this winter, and it was over $1,000. Some people can't afford that. So what you guys are doing of your initiative is huge. You guys opening up, your pocketbooks and being here and supporting this organization is only going to get more people involved and teach teach life lessons. Again, I wouldn't be here today in the room I'm in the profession I'm in if I didn't have sports. So I can't thank you guys enough, even though I'm not officially a part of this organization. On behalf of me being here today, it's a great initiative, and more kids need an opportunity to get out and be a part of this.
Natalie, anything that I didn't ask you that you wanna mention to the
I think everyone wants to golf.
You got yeah. And Natalie's gonna be out there too. What hole are you on?
15. 15. Don't say that. I golfed terrible last week, so I'm trying to It's all mental right now, yeah.
Awesome. Well, round of applause to Natalie for being here today.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Athletes in Sports podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more from inspiring athletes, we encourage you to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on all of our social media channels.